Hello and welcome to the Sunflower Quilt Chat podcast. We'll be chatting patchwork, sewing, quilting, quilt stories, advice, tips, techniques, discussions, the occasional guest, quilting design thoughts, and much more. All the quilty chat you could want. We look forward to you joining us. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Sunflower Quilt Chat podcast. Thank you for joining me. My name is Rayleigh, and I am excited to start this journey of a bit of a podcast. So a little bit about me. My name is Rayleigh. I'm married to Thomas, and we have 4 lovely young men, and now a daughter-in-law. I used to be able to say that I was a dog mum, as well as cat, fish, and chickens. But now we're down to chickens and the cat. Unfortunately, we lost our fur baby earlier in 2023, and so now we are just cat and chickens. But I do enjoy the fresh eggs. So what else can I tell you about me? I studied pathology many years ago, and I've worked in a variety of industries before I started sunflower quilting in 2009. I got my first machine then. That was a bit of a process. Most importantly, for this podcast, I am a long arm quilter. I do teach, also design patterns occasionally, and looking at holding a few more events in 2024, but more on those topics in future episodes. You might wonder, how does someone get into long arm quilting? Well, I have always sewn. I've always known how to sew. It's a little bit like reading. I don't remember not knowing how to sew. And I used to help my mum. She taught me, for which I am very thankful. And I remember one of my main memories is actually being reciting my spelling words to mum whilst she was sewing. So she had my list of words on one side of her and me on the other, and I would need to get my spelling words right, but she would be sewing. Sometimes it was garments, sometimes it was other things. And so you move on from doing things like that to making your own stuff to garment making, and then we tried quilting, and I think I was just gotten bitten by the quilting bug. So when you've made a few quilts, then you need to finish them. So I did look into what was available. Now, back then, the quilting industry in Australia looked very different. The things that were available were not the same as what they are now. We have so much more variety now, so much nicer quality stuff. So it was certainly different. I am very thankful that things are very different now. And so I needed a way to finish the 20 or so odd quilts that Mum and I had put together, had fun making, but they were just quilt tops. They weren't finished. So I looked into getting a quilting machine. So I did find what's known as a short arm machine, and I tried to get that to work. It was on a table my husband built for me, which was fantastic. But it didn't have the same capability as the long arm machine that I have now. And so I was a little bit frustrated with it. And eventually I thought, well, I could do this while my children are at home and while they're younger. So we looked into a long arm quilting machine, and that was a bit of a process, but I can chat more about that another time. And I did buy one, and I've had fun ever since. Everybody's quilt is different. I think in 14 years of quilting, I have quilted the same quilt maybe 4 or 5 times. And that's only sort of one of each, basically, not multiples of the same quilt. So that's a little bit about how I got into long arming. And so I got my machine in 2009. I think I had my first client a couple of months later. And I will tell you a story one day about the very first quilt I entered into a competition, and I think I'd had the machine about a month. So that was a bit of a challenge. That's a story for another day. What about this podcast? How did this come to be? Well, there's a group of ladies that I meet together with, and they were talking about different things that we can do in business. And one of the things I love about quilters is that they are very happy to talk about their craft. They're very giving people. And if you've ever been given a quilt, you will understand what I mean. And it's a little bit of a community. And I wanted to create more of a community because I think that is something that is important to a lot of people. So the podcast is, it's a bit of a learning curve. So I hope you'll come along with this learning curve journey with me, and we'll see what we can do with the podcast. Let's see how much I learn and how quickly. So I was chatting with these ladies, and it came up in conversation, and it just stuck in the back of my mind. Now, this is probably almost a year ago, so I've been tossing the idea around to see what I could do, whether it was actually possible. So this is my attempt at chatting to you as a long arm quilter, as a quilter, and let's see what happens. What will be coming up in episodes? Well, I'm going to be talking about fabric, quilting design, tips and techniques. In the very near future, we'll be talking about some of the episodes for Sunflower Stitcheries and Quilting that are coming up in 2004. We'll be talking about how we use fabric. There'll be a guest in the near future, and they'll be talking about what they've got coming up in 2024. So I hope you'll join us for those episodes. In the meantime, if you have questions for a long arm quilter, so I'm happy to answer them. So if you have a question, please put it in the comments, and that can be something that I can either talk about or share with everybody, or I can answer you specifically. If I can't answer that question, there are numerous quilty friends around that I will hopefully be able to get some information, and we can share that with you. But so if you have a burning question that you've always wanted to ask a long arm quilter, then this is your opportunity. Now, let's see, where can you find me? Or me as in Sunflower Quilting or Sunflower Stitcheries and Quilting. I will put links in the show notes. So we have a website. We are on most socials, probably the main ones: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok I'm playing with, and YouTube. So if you are listening to this podcast through Spotify, but you would like to actually see it, then please head over to our YouTube channel. If you would like to support me to continue podcasting and filming, you can do that at Buy Me a Coffee. So I will include that link also in the episode description. Your support for that is greatly appreciated. So that is the beginning of the Sunflower Quilt Chat podcast, and a little bit about my story and what we might be looking at in future episodes. So I do thank you for joining me for this episode of the Sunflower Quilt Chat with me, Rayleigh of Sunflower Quilting. Be kind to yourself, be kind to each other. Happy quilting. Are you going to sit there and be helpful?